Hello, welcome back to Galactic Reviews. And this week, after about a month hiatus, we watched Godzilla Minus One. Andrew's prepared. Look at that.
Set in the mood.
Yeah.
Yep.
Andrew will be talking in Japanese the whole film or the whole review. No.
そうです。じゃあ、大丈夫じゃないいえ、
Remember, you did this
忘
to
れちゃ
us.
ってしまいました。いえ、たくさん単語を忘れてしまいました。
Yeah, going into this film, I didn't know what to expect, considering that it's a film from Japan. Godzilla, the first Godzilla film I think I saw was the Godzilla versus Kong film that we reviewed. That's the only thing I've had of Godzilla, so I wasn't expecting a whole bunch from this. And with it being from overseas, I knew it was going to be in Japanese, so subtitles, all that. Possibly wasn't gonna like the acting a whole bunch. I had no idea. I actually enjoyed this film, surprisingly enough. I thought the plot was great. I thought they did a great job with Godzilla. They instead of making him like a hero, like a superhero that they tried to make him in like Godzilla versus Kong, he actually felt like a threat, which I thought was cool. And I think that's a better way of doing Godzilla, just from what I've seen. But yeah, I do have problems with it. I don't just personal preference don't like that I had to read the whole movie. But I get it.
Okay.
I get it. I get it. But I don't like that I had to read. There also was some overacting on the actor's part, but I think that's something that me and you, Andrew, discussed a little bit.
That's just the Japanese style of acting.
Yeah. So
They're very big on over emoting.
I thought that might have just been anime, but apparently that's the whole thing.
It's partially
So
because their society is very much not emotive, like normal day-to-day interactions. They just do not show as much emotion as
so when it
Americans
comes so
do.
when it comes to acting in like films, they go overboard.
Pretty much.
Okay, makes sense.
And it
Um,
definitely came from back when like the silent era of films,
it-
um, when they needed to show as much emotion as possible to convey
mhm.
meanings, and they just kind of didn't get out of it.
And then yeah, okay, well that makes some sense.
At least with certain movies. I know other movies are different.
But yeah, surprisingly, I like this film, and I'm going to give it a 9.5 ranking because other than just the small things that I have complaints about, I think it's a very, very good movie. And by your faces, I probably judged it way higher than either of you did. So
I'm more surprised that you gave it such a high rating,
I
even though
know I
you had to
was,
read.
I, yeah, I know. And you weren't there to help me. Well, you weren't there to help read to me. So
Well,
like
yeah,
it
and
would
then
have
I
helped
called myself
out a lot.
illiterate. So
So,
yeah, I called myself illiterate so that I wouldn't be that helpful.
so we would have helped each other out in the film if we had watched it together.
Hmm
You
That's
could
We
good.
take
could have
turns
just
reading
had
lines.
Andrew.
Yeah, we would
Yeah,
have
we could have
taken
just had
turns.
Andrew there to translate.
Yeah, we
I
could have.
hadn't finished the movie, so I was watching it the last hour at 1.5 speed. The last hour
Don't worry,
ago.
I didn't get a chance to watch the last 30 minutes, so it's okay.
So you don't know how it ended?
And yet I'm still here. I know how it ended.
Like the last 30 minutes were the best part of the movie.
I know, I know, I know. But it happens sometimes.
We had a month to watch this movie, Zach.
All in all, this movie reminded me of it was like an original Godzilla movie or TV show to me. It felt like they went back to their origins for Godzilla. I really enjoyed this. The animation of Godzilla, um, the directing, the acting, it was very well made, well put together. I enjoyed it. I knew immediately as I was watching, Payson wouldn't like the reading, so I left it myself for that one. Um, which one did you dislike more, this or Les Mis?
Based on the rating, Les Mis.
What was lame is?
I would assume.
Les Miserables, the French Revolution musical.
Uh, yeah, lame is.
Les Mis? Okay.
Yeah. That was singing nonstop. I'm sorry, I can't take that.
Well, I just
I
wanted
will
to know
never
which
be
one you
taking you
dislike.
to a Broadway show.
Dude, I'll go with you. As
This is
soon
not a
as you get
Broadway
tickets, let me
show. There is
know.
some talking. There's some music and then
No,
no.
no.
Nope.
It depends on the show, but
It's all
no,
music.
it's all singing.
95% all music.
Well, that's live. There's a difference between watching a movie and then watching a Broadway show.
Well, Les Mis is just the movie version of
Les
the
Mis,
Broadway.
yeah. You have musicals, which are both, and then you have
Man, I want a
Broadway.
Godzilla musical.
I'm gonna
Oh,
be honest. I've
please.
never seen a Broadway show in
Japanese, where are
person,
you?
so
Can we have it in Japanese too? The musical or the
I mean,
Broadway?
Death Note the musical kind of slapped.
I didn't get a chance to see it.
all right. Back
Because
to your
you have
review,
to
Hear
Zach.
it. Anyways, back to my review. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, it reminded me of a classic Godzilla movie. Um, I enjoyed this a lot better than the previous Godzilla movies we've gotten. The Godzilla versus Kong and everything. So, yeah, I agree with you. I would say a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I don't really have many problems with it as a Godzilla movie. So, yeah.
Andrew.
Oh, is this gonna be the first episode that I rank something lower than both of you?
Hey, there's a beginning to everything, and I'm sure it's not the first one.
So I did not hate this movie. However, I struggled to get through it. I'm just not used to the pacing of Japanese movies in the first like hour and a half, with the exception of the first like 5 minutes.
I was best at the five
Just
minutes.
kind of
Yeah.
dragged for me. Um,
It
I'm
was
pretty used to
character driven.
subtitles, so I was okay with that. Um, I'm also pretty used to their acting. But man, the plot just dragged for the middle hour and 25 minutes. Um, but then it really picked up that last half hour and kind of redeemed the most of the movie for me. So I was gonna put it at like a 6.5, 7 probably. Um, Overall enjoyment, like for the whole movie, yeah, I came out of that being like that was awesome. Um, and the slow going was definitely a good build up for the end, especially with what they needed to do with the main character. Overall, plot was good, writing was good. Um, I really like the diversity of the characters and the personalities and the um just kind of the character arc of Shikishima and how it all wrapped it up at the end and then set it up for the next one, which they're not going to be happy about. Maybe Shikishima should have died.
Maybe so.
But yeah,
But
overall probably like a 7. It just dragged way too much throughout 70% of the movie. It made it very difficult for me to sit through for most of it.
all right. Now I will ask you both this because I've heard a lot of people give me their inputs on it. Do you think this movie is better in a theater with their surround sound than specifically for like the last 30 minutes?
Almost certainly.
Because I've heard so
I
many
would think
people
so.
say
Yeah.
it is
The Godzilla movies play a lot on their sound and visuals,
yeah,
especially the
100%.
modern ones.
I would think so because of the intensity that we get through that scene because of the music and all the stuff that's going on through that.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard this is one you have to see in theaters to get the full effect.
Rip.
honestly, when at first I was talking to you, Andrew, about this, I think it was before you had watched the whole movie. I thought you were gonna rank it way lower than a 7.
The last 30 minutes just hooked me to the screen. I had to put down my puzzle game.
As it should be. As it should be.
That's when you know a movie's hit
I had
good
to put down my
quality,
Subway Surfers.
when he has to
Subway
put down
Surfers.
the game.
Oh yeah. What'd y'all think of Shikishima's I loved how they said his name, especially when I sped it up to 1.5 speed. It wasn't Shikishima, it was Shikishima. And then they just spat his name out. What do you think of his overall character development?
I I think it fits to an extent for that culture. Um, the internal struggle he had, even not even for that culture, just in general, the internal turmoil he had. Um, so I thought it was really good. You could really feel it at times.
'Cause like in the beginning when he was a defected kamikaze pilot, like that was a big deal.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more backlash, but
I mean,
then
he
he
kept
went
it
to
hidden
Tokyo. Yeah,
for the
then he
most
went to
part.
Tokyo, and the only person that knew who he was that one woman. I can't remember what her name was.
Woman.
Yeah, woman. Um, and yeah, I guess not much backlash since she's the only survivor that knows him. So even when the others found out, they're like, we've been working with him for a few years. It doesn't matter anymore.
Defecting, especially as a kamikaze pilot, like that was the biggest honor you could have given your
Yeah,
life for the country. And the fact that he defected out of like cowardice and a lie, and then got a whole bunch of people killed because he couldn't pull the trigger.
on a miniature baby Godzilla.
The smaller one, yeah,
Hmm.
that was a big. It set his whole character up as just a coward,
Yeah,
and he was running like
even
the whole movie from uh from his past, and then the guilt, and then even a relationship with I don't remember her name. I remember the girl, the little baby's name, but I don't remember her name.
I don't remember hers either. I think it starts with a K, but I can't remember.
Um,
I don't
and
remember.
then wrapped it all up at the end when he resolved to kill himself to avenge the people on what is it? Oda Island?
Yeah,
Odo Island?
yeah.
Odo Island, and then avenge his crush. I really liked what they did with letting the that one kid, the kid back. They're like, you're not coming. I like that. Passing off the future to the next generation. I really like the line with not fighting in the war is something to be proud of.
Oh, when he was
Better
talking
things you
to
can do for your country than just die for it
mhm,
and just be another casualty.
yeah, especially in a losing war.
Wrapped it all good. I really like the ingenuitive plan that they had to murk Godzilla. Um, I like that. I liked one thing I wish I knew was how Godzilla was walking on the water. Is he just buoyant? Like
Webbed
several
feet,
thousand tons.
just huge webbed feet.
I really want like a small like animatic of him just like furiously doggy paddling with his feet as he stands up.
I think they somewhat said like he's excreting some kind of oil that makes him somewhat buoyant and he can
Mm,
control it, which would make him rise and fall and be able to swim and stuff. But I could be wrong because that's what they were
Kind
because
of
that
like
was
a
part of the
stone
way that he
glider. That's
was
what I'm thinking of it.
because I think that was the way that they were going about sinking him, if I'm not mistaken,
hmm.
because they were taking away that shell that was keeping him buoyant and sinking him down. So,
Okay.
but yeah, another big
I'm
part of
gonna
this
look up the
movie that I
material.
didn't expect was a whole bunch of lack of trust in like authority and a government and stuff a lot, especially with like kamikaze pilots dying for no reason, even when the battle's over. Um, Government not coming to help the people at all after they had like just got done with the war.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, that one, to an extent, I understand they were dealing with a lot of other stuff at that time. This was at the end of World War II
Yeah, but it was a couple years
or
after.
World War One.
It was World War II.
World War II, and it was like
Yeah.
what I'm gonna assume 5 years
And
afterwards.
anywhere from 2 to 5,
I
probably,
mean,
yeah.
so I mean, they had the most damage out of anyone in the world, probably.
Hmm.
2 atomic bombs, the destruction of Tokyo. So, not really surprised that they couldn't get as much help from their government.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just mainly
so
surprised at like the people's general distrust. If that makes sense.
I feel like, then again, I can't really speak on it because I don't know much about how they look at their government and their decisions towards the end of World War II. Like, for instance, after the first bomb was dropped, why didn't they just stop? And why did it take until a second one was dropped? So I'm not really sure on that and how they view it. I can't really help explain.
Yeah, well, I don't know enough about that, but just based on what I could see or what I guess from what I got from the movie was they kind of blame their government a lot on the reason for why they needed two bombs in order to stop instead of just the one.
So,
But I could be wrong.
from what I can find, the explanation is he's just buoyant. He's kind of like a duck.
Hmm,
He's
okay.
just buoyant. And there was
Don't.
another post asking about how much Freon gas they would need, and
A lot.
realistically, those 7 containers were not enough. And using math,
Mhm.
he would need around 30 20-foot long shipping containers full of compressed gas to have a chance of countering his buoyancy. So bad math, Godzilla -1, but that was still such a cool. And then being like, if it doesn't
Unbelievable.
work, we're gonna raise him super quickly to explode him. Although I do wish one thing that they've done more in the movie was be a little bit more graphic with the post plane explosion um
Oh,
effects. Like I
Mhm.
wanted to see his jaw like flatten out, completely just unhinged, blown apart.
I mean, yeah, but then again, I'm not sure if they were going for like a more classic Godzilla, and that's why they weren't as graphic in it.
Yep.
Well,
I
Because
also
mean,
art
that and it was a
style,
lower. It
art
was also a
style,
lower budget,
well, art
the
considerably
style
so.
wise, it
CGI
looked like a
on
good
this dude was
classic.
insane.
Hmm?
This was some real good CGI.
Well, yeah, but even with that, the model and art design of Godzilla looked like the original classic art design, not
There was a
what we
moment
saw
when he
in.
was walking around the city in his tiny little arms. Made me laugh.
From like what's it called? Meet the
Every time he
Robinsons.
walked past
Yeah.
a building and you just see the arms.
What's going on? Why aren't you seizing the boy?
But you don't need huge arms when you can just fire a laser.
This is true.
Which I did enjoy the effects of when he fired the laser. The way
That
like the
specific thing is
spikes.
what I want to hear in the theaters.
Yeah, because I'm sure that sounded great.
It was he would shoot it, it would be quiet for so long. You could feel the tension rising, and then it'd just be af a boom and then an after effect boom. It was crazy. They took their time
I
with
believe it.
this.
And that,
Bro,
honestly, that's what made it such a good movie in my opinion.
Mhm.
good CGI, great audio engineering. Banger of the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
America, what are we doing?
Well, I could tell you, but we'd be here a lot longer than the meetings got. So
We don't got time for that. Well, any final words?
it was a
I
good
don't think
film.
so. I think that's about it. Yeah,
It's
I'm
about
curious
hit.
what they're gonna do with the second one.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm
I mean,
I
excited.
because we're
I don't know
also
if
getting in parallel the Warner Brothers Godzilla movies still.
So, yeah. So, out of curiosity, do you think the next Godzilla is Godzilla plus one?
Godzilla 0.
What's with all the math?
It could just be Godzilla.
They took care of Godzilla, but now they need to start adding in like Godzilla villains. I feel like they have to do next.
Well, that
We get
and like,
Mothra. We're gonna get
you-
Mecha
do you-
Godzilla.
I was about to say, I don't think they're gonna have Mecha Godzilla in the next one. 100% not.
I think it's too early.
Yeah, Mothra might happen. That would be cool.
Part of me mainly hopes that this is a one-off. I really don't care for a whole series. I just if this stays as a one-off, phenomenal. Like,
I mean, that works.
but
you
if they
look-
do it, they left it open-ended to maybe continue it, or maybe they left it open-ended to kind of fit in between with whatever Godzilla, the older Godzilla movies, because you were saying that it was reminiscent of the older stuff. So I don't know,
just
but
yeah, just on how the animation, the story, the feeling, just the nostalgia factor of it mostly felt like an older Godzilla movie.
all right, Steve Jobs. What else we got? What's the next movie?
There's no planned sequel, but the director said he'd like to make one. And he'd like to do it on like the after effects of this movie.
That would be cool.
I wouldn't know
That would
why
be
a
an
director
interesting
wouldn't want to
vehicle.
print more money. I don't know why a director wouldn't. Makes
Um,
sense.
Well, as of what's next, we're gonna do Wonka. Yep.
Kill.
So we'll see you next time on Galactic Reviews.
It's the most consistent show I've seen.
Yes, they get worse every single week.